All right, hey VC, my name is Jamie. Thanks again for stopping by. And yeah, let's do it. Vinyl Tag 2019. Want to thank, I believe it's Andrew from Tales from the Crate who kicked this off for this year. And 20 questions. Wow. And I was a little nervous about doing this because I have a good vinyl collection, but it's not great by any means. And just looking at the long list here. So I've kept this all to vinyl. As you can see, I do have a lot of CDs, but I have kept this all to vinyl. So we'll see how we do here. But I think I managed to at least find something for everything. But some of them were kind of tricky. Okay, best find of 2018. I would have to go with picking this one up, Rolling Stones, Sticky Fingers with the zipper. And I was just at the right place at the right time. I was at Diamond Dogs Vinyl here in town, and a fella had brought in some Rolling Stones records that he brought in for sale, and so scooped it up immediately, and it's a nice copy of it, plays great, and it's certainly an early pressing of it, and it's absolutely wonderful. So I was really happy to pick that up, and a friend of mine, Bill, was very jealous that I picked that up. Okay, shout out to other VC channels who deserve more viewers. Certainly right off the bat for me, I would have to say Joel at Planet 13. And he's changed the title of his YouTube channel just recently. So Joel at Planet 13, and he lives fairly close to my area here. Joel's very much into Alice Cooper, and certainly artist kind of that genre, but he's always open to different types of new music and what have you. And he's been very supportive, and I think he does need a lot more subscribers. So I will leave a link for Joel at Planet 13. I think he deserves a lot more. And of course, I want to thank Steve Carlson, Vinyl Community with Steve Carlson. Steve has been a great supporter and really enjoy his comments and suggestions, and Steve always deserves more subscribers. So thank you, Steve. Okay, what holes are you looking to fill in your collection? Not necessarily a particular artist, but I would like a lot more psych rock albums in my collection, especially ones from bands that are kind of one-offs, or maybe only had a few albums. I picked this one up not too long ago, Psychedelic. This is from 1966 to 1970, and boy, this certainly whets your appetite, if you will, for great psych rock albums. So that's something I would definitely like to have, and especially some of the uploads of the vinyl community. Some of the psych rock albums are just fantastic. And also funk and soul. And I don't know if it's necessarily with my area, but it's hard to find a lot of really good funk and soul or R&B records in this area, used at any rate. So I'd like to have some more of that in my collection for sure. Okay, a cheap album that's really good. I picked this one up for next to nothing. Didn't know a lot about the artist. I've presented this one before. This is percussionist Gary Burton, and this is just a wonderful album. My son kind of filled me in on this particular artist. He was well acquainted with Gary Burton, but didn't know anything about it. Looked interesting, and it's an absolutely terrific album. Okay. Your favorite side project album. Now, this was kind of tough for my vinyl collection, and I wanted to stick to vinyl. I could have easily picked something from my CD collection, but I picked this one as kind of not a side project, but a sort of between bands project. UK. With John Wetton and Bill Bruford. Certainly John Wetton after his time with King Crimson, and Bill Bruford certainly after his live concerts with Genesis. So they're kind of between groups at this point, and they only released like a couple of albums. In fact, Bill Bruford, I think, was just on this one. And of course, John Wetton then went on to Asia, and in fact, even with UK's second album, you can start to almost kind of hear the Asia influences. And then Bill Bruford would then eventually go back to King Crimson. So there you have it. So kind of a great side project, only a couple albums, great musicianship overall. Oh, really good. Well worth checking out if you're not familiar with it. Okay, a song from an artist band that is uncharacteristic in their catalog. This was a tough one for my vinyl collection, but I thought I'd pick something out of left field. The Monkees, Headquarters. From 1967, this was their third album, and this was the album that they said, hey, we're going to play the instruments. We sing, of course, but we're going to play the instruments. Now, there are other session musicians featured on this, but it's primarily the Monkees. The song I'm singling out is the track Zilch, just over a minute long. It just features them coming up with these nonsense lyrics and just kind of going in kind of like a round kind of thing. And looked up the song on YouTube, and it's interesting some of the comments for the song Zilch for the Monkees. One person posted probably one of the earliest rap songs, and maybe you could argue with that, but certainly the song, I love the song You Just May Be the One on here. It's just a terrific song, but something a little different. Zilch and certainly the Monkees were definitely heading in a different direction, certainly after this album, so uncharacteristic of their polished pop session musician stuff that was before this. Okay. And moving right along, the last album you purchased. It was a handful of used albums, but this was the last one I picked up before I hit the cashier. And some Canadian content. Doug and the Slugs, Tomcat Prowl. Nice, great rockin' album. If you're unfamiliar with Doug and the Slugs, Canadian band that were kind of more interesting Huey Lewis in the News, shall we say. Tomcat Prowl, great rockin' tune. Had a lot of radio hits over the years. And this album came out in 1988. And Doug Bennett, lead singer, sadly no longer with us, passed away a few years ago. But yeah, a band worth checking out, Doug and the Slugs, always enjoyed them. Okay, a great album with a bad cover. I've always enjoyed this album. This is from 1979, The Head Boys from Scotland. This was pretty much their only album, their debut one. They did release one years later. The group broke up after this album was released. They didn't want to go on tour. They were working on a second one. It wasn't released years later as the Lost album. Head Boys, great, great power pop. This album always puts a smile on my face, but kind of a goofy cover with the, yeah. I mean, certainly not the best of covers, but I guess it serves its purpose. Okay, so that's a great album with a bad cover, a bad album with a cool cover. Not the most outstanding cover, but, and I was expecting a lot more from this album, Jim Capaldi, Fierce Heart. Of course, of Traffic fame. This is from 1983, kind of like the Picasso-style cover. And this was actually a Gold Stamp promo, but the album itself, meh, I can't really connect with it. Certainly when you compare what Steve Winwood was even putting out in the early 80s, it's just really a disappointing album. But I thought, well, the cover's kind of cool, not bad. So there you go. Okay, and gosh, where are we now? A blues album. I don't have a lot of blues, or at least, shall we say, hardcore blues albums in my collection, but I did pick this one up. Have this on CD, and I remember Andrew on Tales from the Crate saying, hey, just pick up this album. If you see it, buy it. And I did. This is Hooker and Heat, John Lee Hooker and Canned Heat. Great double album. This one's a little worn. It's not in terrific condition, but this is just a great album. And thanks, Andrew, for that. Well worth picking up. Hooker and Heat. And I love the progression on the album instrumentally. It's just wonderful. Okay, an earworm song. There's so many, it's hard to choose. But whenever I play Asia, Heat of the Moment, yeah, it's, it's in your head for days. And even One Step Closer, Only Time Will Tell. There's certainly so many, but this one really comes to mind. It tends to be more TV theme shows, and my wife and I have been watching Midsummer Murders, and if you're familiar with that show, the theme song, the very irritating instrumental theme song, is just an earworm that won't let go, shall we say. Okay, a historically important artist. Pick this one, Mahalia Jackson. Just wonderful American gospel singer. Enough said. Mahalia Jackson, and Bless This House. Absolutely wonderful. What a voice. Okay, this is the album you own because of your parents. Barry Manilow's Greatest Hits. The double album. And certainly with the gold lettering there. Hey, yeah, my mom certainly enjoyed Barry Manilow. And hey, there it is. Barry Manilow's Greatest Hits. And if you're a Barry Manilow fan, it's pretty much got everything you need right there. Okay, a best dollar bin find. This wasn't quite $1. It was $2, but I was really shocked to see it because a friend of mine, John, had given me the CD of this artist and listened to it, really enjoyed it. Jesse Colin Young's Light Shine. Picked this up at Goodwill for, I think it was about $2, and this is just a terrific album. I think I've talked about this one before. Really, really recommended. I was really surprised to see it. It was just one of those kind of almost ironic things. Okay, and moving right along, we've got favorite double album, a live one for me, Tangerine Dream, Poland. Love Tangerine Dream, and this double live album is absolutely stunning, particularly the track Poland. And as you can see, it's a double album, 4 songs. Tangerine Dream, fantastic. Really, really great. Okay, an album you learned from the VC in the last year. So many to choose from, but one I picked up recently, Van der Graaf. I have shown this one, also known as Van der Graaf Generator. They had dropped the Generator title by this album, and this is the album, The Quiet Zone, The Pleasure Dome. And Sant wasn't going to pick it up, and then Derek Higgins had recommended it and said, hey, this is a great album. And so I went back, it was still there, so I picked it up, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Okay, a 10-inch record, and I do have one, Jeff Healey, Heal My Soul. This is bonus sessions from the Heal My Soul album, and Jeff really rocking with this one. Jeff Healey, sadly, a wonderful artist, no longer with us, but yeah, 10-inch record. I was really, and this came out in one of the record store days, so I was really, really happy to get that. These songs have since been issued on CD with some other stuff, but yeah, 10-inch record. That's the only one I own. And we've got a 7-inch record from the last record store day, Jimi Hendrix Experience. And this is Burning of the Midnight Light, original mono mixes, slightly strangely packaged because they clearly are promoting Burning of the Midnight Lamp and then Crosstown Traffic and Gypsy Eyes, but they have Gypsy Eyes as the B-side, and then they have Crosstown Traffic and Burning of the Midnight Lamp as the A-side. But orange vinyl, absolutely terrific. Okay. And a favorite album to fall asleep to. Kind of hummed and hawed with this one, but then I chose this one. An underrated album, Trio, from Dolly Parton, Linda Ronstadt, and Emmylou Harris. Beautiful vocals, and it's a lullaby from start to finish. It's just can't go wrong. I mean, at my age, I can fall asleep if I'm on the couch and the album's playing. I can almost fall asleep to anything. But this one is just a lovely, lovely album. And your favorite VC experience and or advice for people contemplating making videos. Certainly, locally, favorite VC experience is definitely checking out the Revival House Vinyl Society nights, and they're the last Thursday of every month. And Revival House is like a restaurant concert sort of venue, and it's just a nice get-together for people playing all different types of music, and always have a lot of fun with that. And advice for people contemplating making videos, and I've seen a few new ones popping up here and again. Just go for it, because I really do think with the vinyl community, everybody has got a different perspective. Not only where you're from, the type of music you're interested in, everyone has got a different perspective on things, which adds to everything, because you're going to learn something from all the videos that are out there. So if you're thinking about it, I would say go for it. And you're going to learn stuff, and you're going to find stuff out, and the vinyl community has been very supportive, certainly with people like Steve Carlson. Okay, we did it. Vinyl Tag 2019. Thank you so much, and thank you again to Andrew from Tales from the Crate, an absolutely terrific YouTube channel. And yeah, well, pass it along, the Vinyl Tag 2019. Take care, bye-bye.